This video is one I've had planned for a little bit, and it's kind of about furries. So, growing up, I've met furries as a kid, and I used to think ill of them. Like, I was not a fan of furries growing up. Still not a fan now, but I don't think ill anymore. All right, and it's because I didn't understand them. Like, I thought they were just weird people who really liked animals, and I kind of didn't get it. And I thought they were like zoophiles as well. Like, all furries want to, do interesting things with animals that I can't really talk about here. But as I was getting back into art, like someone I know personally was like, "Oh yeah, you should really draw furry art." And I was like, "Maybe, maybe I will, maybe I won't." And kind of made me think about it because I'm in college currently, and I had like a classmate who was a furry, and I thought like all furries were kind of like the same. Like they all like at this point in my life, I was over the whole like, okay, they just want to mess with animals. That's not true. They're more like animal lovers. Like they're animals rights activists, if that makes any kind of sense. That's kind of like more their MO than just simply saying that they like animals. But while I was like researching ways to illustrate this, I came across the Harkness test. Like I was scrolling on YouTube, just minding my own business, chilling. But I came across the Harkness test, which was like, it kind of like, I guess, quantified like the perspective or what I didn't understand. It was an interesting feeling for a little bit. And basically, what it is like a test to determine like how furry something is. Like I'll put a scale on screen, like right about here. But yeah, it was a test to, gauge how furry something is, or more importantly, whether or not it was safe for certain activities. But I thought it was kind of funny because it kind of highlighted like how most people feel. Feels like, oh, okay, I can see how somebody would be like into something between 1 and 2, but obviously something like 5 would be unacceptable. But that's just kind of like the scale for it. But there's not quite words for it yet. But I am gonna go over like at least each point, like the best words I can come up with it, because I was having a lot of fun drawing this alpaca. That was the animal I was like inspired by. I looked at an alpaca and I was like, yeah, that's that's it. I'm picking that one. So the first tier, say, is like human. The human is exactly what it sounds like. It's just a human character. There's nothing particularly special about how they're illustrated or how they act, or they don't have like any sort of, you know, uh, unique features. You just got human. And then there's like transhuman, which is more human than animal, like significantly more human than animal. I would say this would be like characters that got like a snackle tooth or like whiskers on their face, you know? Or maybe they have like really big ears. Like it's not quite human, but it's also not so far that you would like start calling them an animal, you know? Like I would say these would be like some characters in fiction. And then there is like a humanoid, a girl with, like a character with a combination of at least 2 of the traits from before. Like maybe plus some secondary extreme. Like they got animal ears, they have tails or patches of skin or fur at this stage. But they maintain like human proportions mostly. Like humanoid is like, hey, this is kind of furry, but not really super furry. It's like it has you got whiskers and a tail and ears. This is humanoid, human shaped roughly, but not a human. Like the first step in the little chart, and it kind of reminds me of like characters from No Game, No Life, that sort of thing. Um, and I would say these are also like maybe like the majority of characters in Made in Abyss, fall into like this humanoid category, with, like the exception of Fopta. Then I would say like the next level is like anthropomorphic, which is like, all right, a fair bit of human and animal. Like we're starting to get into like digigrade legs and like long arms that like don't make sense for human proportions. This is where I think like animal proportions start to like dominate more than human proportions when it comes to the characters. Like their snout, maybe a long face. They'll have like normal human arms though, but or maybe sometimes normal human legs, but they'll have like this this little snout in their face. And then there's like zoomorphic, which I would say is like pretty much everyone in B stars, it's just like an animal. If the animal were a person, or maybe like Zootopia. Zootopia is, definitely pretty zoomorphic. It's the physical structure, even the anatomy of the character at that point is like more animal than human, I'd say. And then there's just, a literal animal. They walk on all fours, the highest tier. Um, yeah, but there's also like sometimes this can get like a little confusing because the chart is not really like perfect or accurate for everything. Because somebody was like, "Oh, well, why don't people like monkeys? What's wrong with like uh, you know, monkeys as a fursona?" Like I'll play the video, but basically, hmm, that was a lot shorter than I expected. But basically, they were asking like, why don't people pick monkeys as like their fursona? I would say it's probably because, well, even though monkeys are technically a five on the fur chart scale, like they are just 100% animal, they read that, like visually speaking, they're more like a two, like a two, like between a one and a two, is like more visually what a monkey is. Also, a monkey is I don't want to say easy to draw, but like monkey proportions are just messed up human proportions if you really think about it. Like maybe you got extra long arms and like extra short legs. And at that point, you got a monkey because they got hands, they got feet, and they got like, the monkey look. But I would say the first thing is because like it's easy to like, get the proportions of a monkey. If you just started like illustrating your OC. But I'd say the second reason for sure is probably like the public perception and opinion with monkeys. Rodents would probably be a lot more popular because they're cute. Or, people may pick reptiles because they're generally quite honest in the things that they want. They're cold blooded most of the time, can't regulate their own heat. They're near you for either warmth or food. They're very simple creatures. And they're also often like majestic and vibrantly colored. And they have cool eyes and have spikes and tails and stuff. So I can see why somebody would pick like a lizard as like their fursona, even though it doesn't have any fur, because it's generally just a cool looking and honest creature. And it comes to rodents, rodents are cute. They got like some of the same features as like other animals, but they're just generally adorable. I can see why somebody would say like, "Oh yeah, my fursona is like a rodent or something." Like I really like this capybara, or I like this rabbit as my fursona, or like a mouse, because it's not it's not the same as like not quite the same as like a reptile, but it has like other things people like. And then cats almost have like this regalness to it. They're sassy, they're majestic, they're often cute, you know, and they have this like way that they carry themselves. And I could see myself to say, "Oh yeah, a cat's cool too." Dogs, dogs are just very unassuming creatures. They're loyal, they're warm. I can, or and they also have like this pack mentality with them. They're determined. They can represent a lot of things, especially if you got stuff like a lone wolf. Like dogs are just great Okay, dogs are just like great as part of like a fursona idea because of how they are, and it's why they get used so often because people have pet dogs and stuff. I think I've seen like some instances of birds being like a fursona where somebody will have like a harpy character, kind of like bird. It happens with things like birds too, but I would say like it's probably not as frequent as like dogs or cat girl or that sort of thing. Monkeys, though, monkeys don't have a good reputation. Like, they're also partly like hairless. Like monkeys don't have a good reputation. They're known for being mischievous, loud, and wreaking havoc. It almost doesn't matter the species. They're quite belligerent. It's like, why do people hate the species? It's because like every video I've seen of a monkey is them like pulling someone's hair or stealing their food. Like, it's not the same. Cats are at least, and sometimes it seems like they're genuinely interested in whatever it is you're holding, but in secret, they just want to rob you. Like, at least cats are kind of like honest in that regard. Like, they knock stuff over, they're curious too. But like, you can't really tell with a cat. That's why some people say, like, oh, they're bipolar, they switch up on you from time to time. And it's because you can't really tell with like an animal like a cat, but like with a monkey, you can tell. They're not really good at hiding it. That's why I'd say they're probably not. They're really not going to be like a popular, fursona. I think like it's probably for similar reasons why things like maybe lampreys and starfish or octopus are not everyone's fursona because they're technically animals. Not sure how well that falls in line with like furries. I mean, I guess some of them, like I haven't heard like scaly. Like, wait, no, that is the word for it. Scalies, I guess, is what you would call like a furry who likes scales, um, in their community. I was gonna say like I haven't really heard of like, what would you call them? Like aquates, people who like cephalopods or something, cephies maybe. Yeah, but like I don't see a lot of personas that are like, oh yeah, I want to be like a penguin or like an octopus or a squid or a fish or that sort of thing. Like, some other sort of animals. It's just some things are just not cool to draw. And like, how do you give a fish arms? I know, sorry, this is getting off topic. It's mostly about like why they don't like the monkey persona. I would say it's because they're mischievous. They're a little rude, and their curiosity oftentimes can turn hostile really quickly, especially when they don't get what they want. And it's just not like a creature I'd want to be like associated with or like want my fursona to be like, oh yeah, man, a monkey. And don't get me wrong, some people pull it off well. Like they're good at drawing them, but I'm personally not a big fan of the whole monkey fursona thing. I think but I think they're all right. Is that the word? I guess they're like all right. It's like I don't understand why people don't like them. Not everyone likes everything. Not everyone likes everything. I think most people don't like the whole uh monkey fursona idea. But anyway, here's like my finished illustration of an alpaca. I'm done blabbering for now. I'll probably have like another video soon with some more coherence. So, yeah.